Welcome in episode 4 of Outside the Law, the Outlaws Postseason podcast. As always, my name is Colby Smith, and I'm super duper excited to be joined today by my good friend, Ethan Glossa. Ethan, how the heck are you?
Doing good, Kobe. Doing amazing.
Well, it's been a hot minute since we've had the conversation to talk. I know now you're getting situated at your new school. You want to talk a little bit about your decision to commit to John Carroll and what it's been like so far?
Yeah, well, I never really knew John Carroll was a thing until Keaton, like our head coach at the Outlaws, he told me about he's the assistant coach here, and he had me on a visit. It's kind of like right on my way home from New York, and so I just stopped by and after like a kind of like long thought process, I ended up committing here. Called Keaton, I told him I'm gonna come, and it was probably like 3 weeks before we had to start school.
Well, when you decided that you wanted to keep going with college, of course, keep playing baseball, what was it you were specifically looking for and where you ended up?
Kind of like a good program and like a good culture, like a winning culture, and looking like everyone on the team wants to get better and like all push towards the same goal of winning and going as far as we can in the playoffs and seeing how far you can really make it with this thing.
What made John Carroll special from any other place that you talked to or took a look at?
Um, there's a lot of like nice like opportunities here. There's a lot of like the team culture. They won the OAC 2 years ago, and a few of the same guys are here. And last year they'd had a down year, but they like the coach talked to me, Keaton talked to me, said they're just a few pieces away. They have really nice like facility. We have a nice like outdoor cage area. We hit it every day. We're getting a new turf field right now, and it's pretty sweet. Our lifting program's nice. It's real detail oriented.
Well, and how special for you as a player is it to come into a situation like that where you might have had a down year last year, but things are on the uprise and you have all that new stuff and all that special stuff around you?
Yeah, it's fun. Like you know me, like I want to go in there and turn it around. Like I want to go and win wherever I go, and I want to like bring what I have to bring to the table and try and win and like get as many wins as we can. And it won't like kind of bring a new face and do it in a new like style, like to get guys going and stuff like that.
And what do you feel like you as a player truly bring to the table for a college baseball program?
Well, I try my best to go out there every day with a positive like mindset and not really let anything affect me. And no matter what happens, keep smiling and keep like having a good day and trying to flip it around if it's a bad day and keep it going if it's a good day, and just try and rub it off on my teammates because if they see that, like even when I'm struggling, I'm still able to have a smile on my face and still able to see the positive side and everything, that they'll realize that they could do the same and it'll just boost the team in general.
Well, and you always seem to have a way in the locker room of finding a way to make guys laugh without even trying. How do you do that?
I don't know, like it's kind of just my personality my whole life. I've kind of been like guy to get a laugh, get like a good loose feeling, make sure everyone's feeling loose because like you could get like stressed and nervous before a game and just try and relax. 'Cause I know I play my best when I'm not thinking when I'm just laughing around having a good time. Like obviously there's still like intent behind everything. I want to like keep that focus level, but you want to be able to stay loose and stay not always thinking about baseball.
Well, and you mentioned stressed and nervous. What is the game of baseball like for a player from a mental standpoint?
It's brutal. Like there's times where you're like, why am I doing this? Why is like you just cannot find like a grip of anything and it's just like you just keep going and you're just like, geez, I can't see the ball. I don't know why I'm not hitting the ball. And but you just have to you got to put your head down and keep digging through it and just trust that the work you've done will pay off. And you most of the times for me it's like it's paid off. It's in the end it's like if you just trust it really and you keep going, you'll find out. you'll find a brighter side, and then it just clicks, something clicks, and then you just kind of piggyback off that and you keep going with that, and the momentum will just take itself.
And you talked about your mentality in terms of always smiling, always trying to keep it loose. But when those sorts of times are happening, you're struggling to find the ball, you're struggling to make plays in the field or whatnot. How do you break yourself out of that, and how much does that really wear on you?
It's kind of um like I it took me a while to learn it. Like I used to be a guy like if I had a bad game or a bad at bat, I'd let it trickle down. I'd let it affect me for the rest of that day and maybe bring it into the next day. But if you once you kind of learn to just drop it, like who cares? Like it's in the past. There's literally nothing I could do about it right now. The only thing I could do about it is fix it with my next at bat. And if you get that mindset down, and it's not easy to learn, but over time you realize like you just clear your head and like who cares? Like there's nothing I could have done about that. You'll you'll start seeing results and you'll start just piggybacking off of that.
Well, and to that effect, what kind of things about life has baseball really taught you in terms of just, like trying to keep a good mentality or anything like that?
Yeah, well, baseball, like if you fail 7 times out of 10, you're in the Hall of Fame. So like it's just like baseball's a game where you could like you're gonna have to fail. Like you're gonna have to learn how to deal with failure. And that's like in life, like you're gonna have obstacles, you're gonna have troubles in your life, you're gonna have things you gotta push through. And like you could just sit back and say, oh well, poor me, like oh well, like it sucks it happened to me, or you could do something about it and you could fix that feeling and fix where you're at and do something and keep working through whatever, not just baseball, just life in general.
And who are some of the most inspirational people that you've come across in baseball?
In baseball, well, first off, like my dad growing up, like he was at every game. Like he was never a coach, but he always like coach, like he'd always go to the park with me whenever I wanted to. And we worked at like we'd hit every night. And my mom was always like there for like she was always like the brighter side, like kind of like the mentality I have now, just like who cares? Like there's nothing I could do about that. She kind of taught me that. And my dad would just be there and he'd just keep getting on, like keep getting on me to keep pushing because there's always someone out there working harder. And in baseball, my travel coach, he kind of taught me a lot of things I know about just like my work ethic and putting my like you anything you want out there you could go get. You just have to work for it.
Well, and how important was it for you as both a player and a person growing up to really have your parents in your corner like that?
It's everything. Like I was lucky enough to have them both at a lot of games, and they'd be at my house every time I got home from practice, and we'd talk about everything, and I was able to open up a lot with them, and they taught me like keep working, but also enjoy like what you're doing, make sure you're having fun, and if you're having fun and you're enjoying what you're doing, everything else will work itself out.
Speaking of enjoying and having fun, what are some of the things that you most enjoy about baseball?
I love winning, like love winning with like a guys you work like the whole off season with. There's not a better feeling than that. Like when you're on the field, you're beating some team, and it's like all your brothers on the field, like all dudes you love, and you just there's literally not a better feeling of that, and just seeing other your teammates succeed and like knowing what they've done, knowing what you've done when you succeed, and just winning in general.
What are some of the winning teams that you've been able to be a part of, or what are some of the things in baseball you're most proud of to this point?
Um, well, I've got to play a lot of different levels of baseball. My last school, Herkimer, we made it all the way to the World Series. We finished fifth, and it was just time of our life. Like the regional was a hell of a time. Like we were not picked to come out of it. We had to play Niagara. We ended up having one of our dudes throw, and he threw us a hell of a game. And then we had another dog come in and close it out, and it was just it was fun to just win that, and then ended up winning the regional the next day, make it to the final eight in the country, and just it was fun because I think the year before that or 2 years before that they won it all. And there's still a few guys on the team who had that, and like they were telling us how much fun it was, how much we were able to, or how much fun, how close they got winning it all, and we wanted that feeling, and like we did end up coming up short, but it was still like such a fun time. And then like my travel team growing up, we played like everywhere. We went across the whole country playing best teams we could play, and I think it was I want to say junior or sophomore year or my junior year fall. We went down to Arizona and we played Canes National. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. They're a pretty filthy team in the country, and they had all Power Five guys. And we had probably like we our arms were all short, and we figured out a way to just scrape through, and we won it all. It was crazy. I've been on, yeah, it was fun. It's always fun when you like when the team, it might not you might not be able to be like, or on paper it says like they're better than you, but it's baseball. Like anything could happen, and like you're able to beat anyone on any given day.
Well, you mentioned your days at Herkimer, and I did want to touch on that. Spent 2 years there. What was the experience like of being up there and being a general?
It was a hell of a time. Like it wasn't you didn't have you had like the cold winters. You had days where we were on the field and there's snow on half the field and on the turf field, and but you just kind of learned how to enjoy where you're at. Like no matter the circumstance, just you're doing what you love. Like you're gonna be able to reap the benefits of it in the springtime when you're actually able to go out there and play. And when you finally do, like we went down to Florida last spring, and we use just like such a free feeling. It's warm out. You're not in inside cages anymore, and you're just playing out there. And then you come back home. You got to take another little break because it's still like the upstate New York winter. But then you get a few weeks later, like you'll play in whatever weather there really is because like there's been snow on the ground, and just such a fun time, like no matter the circumstance.
Well, did you see any sort of differences growing up playing ball in Illinois as opposed to coming to New York to start your college days?
Um, a little bit, like well, Herkimer in general, there was like a lot of diversity on the team. Like we had a few Japanese players, and we had a few Dominican players, and it's just kind of like cool to see how they grew up, how like especially like the Japanese boys, like how meticulous they are with their process, with their all their like training and stuff, and their pregame routines. They all have, and like them telling us stories about their high schools that were like so focused on baseball, and how hard they had like were pushed and worked, and it was just cool to like get different experiences.
Did you have any specific pregame routine that you usually follow or anything that you're trying to get into?
Not really, like that's another thing about like I used to try and like have a little pregame like thing, but I found it better when I'm just kind of not going through any motions and just trying to like if I feel like doing this today, or if like something's feeling right, like or if I want to get a certain feeling, and I'll do that, like but not force it, not like I
Are
just
there
want
any
to.
are there any specific things that you try to eat before a game or specific things that you rely on diet wise in season?
Um, Nothing too crazy. I like to eat just pretty light before a game. Like I like to kind of play on like an emptier stomach-ish, and because I don't really think about being hungry when I'm on the baseball field, so I'd rather not feel sluggish by eating too much or like having like a full stomach. But every once in a while, if I like need like I don't like too many superstitions. Like I don't like, oh, I need this before every game, but like every once in a while, if I need a little kick, I'll like have an energy drink or something like that.
Well, and what exactly does a game day usually look for you in season at college, also having classes, work, and any kind of responsibilities like that to deal with too?
Most of the time it really depends. Like most of the time we still have to go to our classes in the morning, and then or we'll leave early like from our classes and get bussed out, or if we're playing at home, head over the field and just warm up, hit for a while, hit on field, and then like go to clubhouse, hang out, like just kind of just stay loose, stretch out, and then because we probably get there like 3.5 hours before the game, and then we'll do an IO before the game and kind of just get the butt flowing, and that's when you got to start locking it in really.
Well, and for you personally, how do you go about trying to deal with the balance between schoolwork, off-field stuff, and staying locked in with baseball?
Just kind of I like to just kind of think ahead and kind of what I have to do and get my stuff done, so I know like if I have a game that day, I won't be able to do anything, or I'll be getting home late. I know like I'm not gonna want to do that later in the day. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna like. I'm just gonna want to go to bed and when I get home and just kind of staying ahead of everything.
Well, and what does school look like for you right now? What's the major that you have out there at John Carroll? How did that kind of come about post Herkimer, and what's the class schedule look like right now?
Right now it's just done like business, and I'm kind of like still open for everything, and it's class schedules. All our classes are in the morning because we got to be done at like 2 for practice, and I just kind of I don't know exactly what I want to do when I'm older. I just know I want to do something where I'm kind of hands on and um, leading like projects and stuff like that.
Well, and what really is your focus in terms of the classes that you're taking right now, and what are some of your favorites that you're in at the moment?
I'm taking stats is like tough for me right now. That's my hard one. It's kicking my ass a little bit, but a lot of like computer like Excel classes and stuff like that. Another like entrepreneurship class, and then I am taking like Eastern Asian history, which like
That
it's
sounds
like
fun.
it's one of the ones you have to take, but it's like one of the topics you have to take, and it's like I'm in like I love like my Japanese boys who I played with, and that's what we're learning about Japan and China and stuff.
Well, do you keep close touch with a lot of those guys at Herkimer you've played with, and do you keep in touch with a lot of old teammates from youth or travel ball or anything like that?
Yeah, like there's like a few from each team. Like at Herkimer, like I hung out with like those Japanese boys every night, and um, growing up, I knew how to speak Japanese, so it was kind of fun. Like I got to talk with them, and like I was kind of like their like me. Like I don't know perfect Japanese, but like Ariel able to understand me, and we hung out. They cooked like me food all the time, like that they like learned how to cook, and yeah, we still keep in contact like pretty much every day. We're talking, and last Thanksgiving they came back home with me, and I'm trying to figure out when I can go see them in Japan and kind of experience their culture and stuff.
That'd be a nice spring break trip, huh?
Yeah,
Well, and I know besides those Japanese boys, you also had a few more friends up there at Herkimer that you even got the opportunity to spend the summer with, playing this summer. What was that like? And you want to talk a little bit about all that?
yeah, like well, I stayed with Cheeks, well, Goebel, Jordan Goebel, and me and him at Herkimer. Like he wasn't always there in the fall time, but springtime we'd be hanging out all the time. And then I stayed at his house over summer, and I got to meet Joel and Logan Marquez and Ben Gilbert, who played at Herkimer like the previous year, and like I just met him there, and we bonded right away, and it was such a fun time, like staying in the house with all of them, just messed around all the time, and then played a game at night and went humping together and everything. It was fun.
What are some of your favorite memories from the summer with those guys?
Um, like we all kind of got into like liking humping, like even though like it was a job, like we still had such a good time doing it. Like obviously there were some days we didn't want to, like we didn't want to wake up that early and or we had a long game. It was hot out, but most of the time it was fun. We were just joking around and we got to work together and stuff. It was because we were on a baseball field and we like to do like we like baseball, like so it wasn't really that bad of a job, and we got paid for it. So,
Well, in terms of other jobs that you've had before, how does umpiring really fall on the list of jobs you enjoy?
well, it's like kind of the first job where I had like an actual boss, and so it was different. Like I was a little worried about it, but it was like really fun in the end. Like I enjoyed doing it a lot. Like other guys like liked it, like, but I liked it a lot, and you gotta just like our bosses were Todd and Chris. They're our guys. They liked us. We were gonna get a championship game if things lined up. It didn't really line up, but they loved us and they loved like our passion kind of, and we always were talking about it, and we always were like we'd just come back. We'd be in the clubhouse. We talk about how our games went today, and like it was just fun. We always give something to talk about.
Well, are there any things that you learned from umpiring about that side of the game that you didn't know prior?
Yeah, like it's like the guys aren't throwing too hard, but it's even then it's still hard. And I couldn't even imagine that these guys in like big leagues or even like our age, like guys are pumping and they gotta call like these borderline calls and like I'll still get mad at them even when they like make a bad call, but like it's still you gotta give them like some props because it's kind of crazy. Like or like a bang bang play, like you're just guessing sometimes.
Do you have any funny or umpiring stories that you're really proud of from the summer?
There's like a few funny ones that are like I was me getting chewed out and like these parents come like, but I can't really think of any right off the top of my head, but there's just like a ton of crazy things that happen and like there's like one team that was like filthy and just watching these like 12-year-olds do what they were doing was like what the heck like and it was cool. It was cool sometimes, but yeah.
Well, in mentioning crazy, are there any crazy moments or memories that you have from the Outlaw Clubhouse this summer?
Oh yeah, there's a ton like kind of messing around just um before the game and just everyone gets there early and we just got done with BP and we're just all like in the dugout messing around. Like guys are getting ready for the game. Like some guys know they're not playing already, so they're just kind of like messing around, staying loose, like keeping that relaxed feeling. And like it was just a good like joke around environment. We were all able to like mess around with each other and stuff like that.
How much fun did you have this summer as opposed to any other place that you've played? Is it the most fun that you've ever had playing baseball, or is there an experience that takes the cake on that?
Definitely like for my college experience, it was the most fun I've had playing summer ball just because I was like main focus was baseball and we just kind of got to like we kind of got that like big league feeling of we'd go show up to the clubhouse. Every game was at night. We'd have a group of like a good amount of fans at every game. Away games, we were getting heckled a little bit, and then we were able to just play under the lights, and it was we were able to like sign balls and give autographs to these kids, and kind of just such a good time. Like Gary, like the owner, he really made it feel like we were playing at a good level of baseball and made us feel welcome and everything like that.
What do you feel like makes Oneana so special when it comes to summer baseball?
Definitely kind of it's like a smaller town-ish. So like there's a good like popular thing to do is go watch an Outlaws game. And um it's a beautiful park we play. There's a big stadium and it kind of like they want you to win. Like you're running down first base and they're just saying like good job or like staying like let's go like 30. Like I was 30 and like it was just good to hear that and stuff. It's like people you don't even know are rooting for you.
Well, and of any place that a player could choose in future years to play summer baseball, if they asked you why should they choose Oneana to go to?
I would just say it's a good experience. Like great coach, like Keaton and Josiah were so laid back, and like when you needed help, they'd help you. Like, they know they're hitting, and but they still have that relaxed vibe. You can go talk to them about anything. And then Gary, like he treated us so nice. Like compared to these other teams, like it was Gary was the guy. Like Gary, he fed us well. He beautiful clubhouse, just everything. Like it was just all like handed to us and stuff.
Well, and talking about the clubhouse, talking about the field at Damaski, what were some of your favorite parts about playing in that ballpark? And what was your favorite spot? Kind of an interesting question to go to on the road. Like, what was your favorite atmosphere you played in?
Um, Favorite thing about Damascus is kind of just like a lot like the fans, the kids like coming out to watch our games and like they look up to us and they have a big smile on their face and we're like joking around with them, signing balls for them, just having a good time. And I really like when we go play at Amsterdam, it was it was packed, like every seat was filled and stuff. They're all loud. They have all these like chants and stuff and it's just like you gotta like kind of get like that first game we won there was sick. It was no one thought it, but like we put a 9 spot on them in the first inning and we were all hyped and it's just such a feeling to like shut down that crowd and do that.
Well, and how do you as a player thrive off the energy like in a spot like Amsterdam, especially on a night like you talked about where you went up there, put up such a big first inning and beat the team for the first time in 2 years?
Kind of just string together stuff like we did that like we got on. We just kept hitting guys in. Like Gage had that triple down the first baseline that cleared the bases, and we just kind of just that happened because the guys before him got on, and they just kept feeding off each other. Like not like instead of like you do want to feed off the fans, but you want to feed off each other too, and like just put together stuff because the guy in front of you did his job. You want to do your job.
Well, I'll backtrack for a second. You were talking about Keaton and Josiah and their relaxed atmosphere in Oneonta. Certainly, with you now going and playing for Keaton out of John Carroll, you guys have built up a relationship. What's your relationship like with Keaton, both through baseball and away from baseball?
Like saw him every day in the summer, so we got to kind of form a bond there, and just he liked me enough to want me to come play for him here, and it's kind of like we're definitely gonna grow closer. I feel like throughout like me playing for him and me playing like where he actually coaches like the whole year. Like he's gonna be there for like the when we have hitting groups or like lifting groups and stuff like that. So I'll definitely form a more tighter bond with me and Keith.
Well, and what's the plan for you out there, John Carroll? Are you going to be mainly focused on the outfield, or are they planning on playing you somewhere else?
I'm not too sure yet. Like it seems like the outfield, but obviously I still gotta go out there and prove like it's a new team. I've proven nothing. I gotta go put my head down and work every day and like earn that spot first. But yeah, it's like looks like the outfield.
Are there any other spots on the diamond throughout your years that you've played that you really enjoy playing besides the outfield?
Yeah, I grew up my whole life, like my first 2 years of school too. I caught like my whole life um and I played a little first base and I played like for Herkimer. I kind of split between left field and first base this year.
And how do those positions like how did you enjoy those throughout your time playing?
Well, catching like you're in every play, like you gotta really lock it in. Um like I like being kind of involved in everything. Like you have to be, or you're gonna like just miss the ball. And like every time you're catching the ball, throwing the ball, blocking the ball, sticking the ball, framing the ball, or like suppose like compared to the outfield, you could be out there all game not get a ball. And then first base is kind of like it's kind of I like to hit, so like like catching is so like you got to focus on both sides of baseball. Like obviously outfield, you still got to be a good defender, and same with first base, but there's a little less like stress on it, and you're able to focus more on hitting.
Ethan, I'll wrap up with one last question here for you. Give me one message. What's one thing you want to say to the Oneonta crowd that you never had the opportunity to at the end of the season?
Thank you for everything, for being at all the games, supporting. Like, come back next year, come tell your friends, get this word around, get that stadium packed, get Demashki Field packed, and making it so everyone wants to come out. And like that's the thing to do that night, like especially on a Friday night, Saturday night. Go out there, have some beer, have a hot dog, get that stadium popping, and cheer on the Outlaws.
Glow, thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you, Colby.